Donkey Kong Country is the best place on Earth to go bananas, but it's also a jungle full of mysteries, secrets, and tons of references to Nintendo history and gaming's most famous ape. Jump aboard the minecart with us by hitting that like button, subscribing to the channel, and ringing the bell. We promise you a wild adventure filled with Nintendo details. These are 25 secrets from Donkey Kong Country at Super Nintendo World in Japan. To enter Donkey Kong Country, you first have to pass through the entrance arch from Super Mario Land. This tunnel transports you straight into Donkey Kong's jungle, crowned by the iconic Golden Temple, a legendary structure from Nintendo's Gorilla Universe that appeared in the final level of Donkey Kong Country Returns and even made a cameo in the Super Mario Bros. Movie. At the entrance, two dragons form another archway. These statues reference the level Jungle Hijinks in Donkey Kong Country Returns. One of the main missions in Donkey Kong Country is something you've been doing since the Super Nintendo days, collecting all the Kong letters. You'll need a power-up band like these to tap the NFC points and register each letter. Once you get them all, you'll hear that classic Donkey Kong Country sound, and you'll unlock all 4 stamps in the app. Donkey Kong Country's hot dog stand is actually the item shop from modern Donkey Kong games. You can't order an invisibility potion here, but you'll still spot it, and other familiar consumable items like balloons and keys right under the counter. Rambi stars in one of the mini-games you can play in Donkey Kong Country. Inspired by the GameCube title Donkey Konga, your mission here is to play the bongos to the beat of the music. If you keep up the rhythm, an animatronic Rambi will pop out of the box to celebrate. Fun fact, the beat you're playing is actually the opening rhythm of DK Island Swing, the main theme from the Donkey Kong Country games. Super Mario has his own restaurant at Super Nintendo World, and Donkey Kong wasn't about to be left behind with his own themed food. At the Item Treehouse, you can order a hot dog designed to look like the iconic minecart tracks from the Donkey Kong games, topped with guacamole, ketchup, mustard, cream cheese, and crunchy nachos. Over at Jungle Beat Shakes, choose between a hot or cold shake with blended bananas and loads of chocolate on top. Certainly giving Princess Peach's cake a run for its money. In front of the Golden Temple and throughout the ride, you'll spot a giant barrel with an arrow on it. It's one of those classic barrels that help you progress in Donkey Kong games, although its function here is actually closer to the barrel seen in Mario Kart. During the ride, it genuinely feels like your minecart is being launched into the air. The Jungle Beat Shake stand hides a clever reference in its name. It's actually a playful nod to the GameCube title Donkey Kong Jungle Beat, which was famously played with the donkey bongos in a very unique way. If you're waiting in line near the temple's lake, you'll have a chance to play the end-of-level barrel minigame. In this roulette-style game, you can snag familiar items from Donkey Kong Country's level finals, which then unlock special stamps in your app. Plus, if you've already grabbed everything else, this is also where you can unlock Mirror Mode, an item that allowed you to play all the game's levels, but reversed. In the entrance tunnel to Donkey Kong Country, you'll hear a very special song. It's the game's select theme from when you start Donkey Kong Country Returns. Minecart Madness is the name of Donkey Kong's ride, inspired by the iconic minecart levels that became famous in Donkey Kong's Super Nintendo games. In fact, the attraction shares its name with the minecart level 5-5 from the original Donkey Kong Country, released in 1994. Donkey Kong's attraction at Super Nintendo World is one of the fastest roller coasters in the world, not because of its top speed, but because a new minecart departs every 13 seconds, kinda like a Donkey Kong speed run. It's also the world's first attraction to use a floating rail system, which simulates riding on rails as if it were a minecart, yet is supported by a hidden rail position much lower than the visible one. Nintendo loves to hide Pikmin in its real-world locations, just like they did at Super Mario Land and the Nintendo Museum. Donkey Kong's jungle also features some Pikmin near the water area, watching the Minecart Madness minecart pass by. On one of the Golden Temple murals, you can spot a drawing of 3 Pikmin swiping a banana. Right in the same area, you can also see some Pikmin being crushed by a barrel. This scene, with Donkey Kong at the top, is a nod to the classic arcade game Donkey Kong, the very first game featuring Jumpman before he became Super Mario. With the sheer speed of minecart madness, you might well miss some characters popping up during the ride. Dixie Kong is waiting to welcome you before you head down the first hill. Donkey and Diddy are riding a minecart on the attraction itself, and right in the middle of the ride, one of the pigs from the checkpoints in modern Donkey Kong Country games is waiting for you. There is one more character in the attraction, represented as a stone figure. Mugly, the boss of the first world in Donkey Kong Country Returns, is carved in stone like a statue, drenching anyone who dares to venture into minecart madness. During the minecart madness ride, you'll also encounter other foes, like the cave moles and the screaming pillar that screams as your minecart zooms past. The idea for Donkey Kong Country was born at Nintendo following the success of Super Mario Land. Before it was officially announced, some park designs actually leaked out, giving the world its first glimpse of the Golden Temple and minecart madness. In fact, a patent registration system even revealed some of the tricks used by the real-life Donkey Kong Country minecart attraction ahead of time. Donkey Kong's treehouse is a highlight of the park. This is where Donkey and Diddy live on Kong Island, and it's been featured in games since Donkey Kong Country for the Super Nintendo. So if you're wondering whether you can climb inside, the answer is sadly no. In fact, it isn't even recreated on the inside. If you look closely, you'll notice that the windows are covered with light-absorbing paint to make it seem like there's nothing inside. In the games, Donkey Kong's treehouse looks just like this, filled with some of Donkey's personal items, a few photos, and either a TV or a cassette player, depending on the game's era. At the end of the ride, you can witness the final battle between Donkey Kong and Tiki Tak, the boss of the Tiki Tak tribe in Donkey Kong Country Returns. The entire park is based on this adventure, with the Tikis serving as the antagonists. With the arrival of Donkey Kong Country at Super Nintendo World, new power-up bands were released to bring Donkey and Diddy Kong to life among the visitors. These wristbands not only allow you to interact with the park's minigames, but can also be scanned as amiibos on your Nintendo consoles. Funky Kong isn't physically in Donkey Kong Country, but his plane certainly is. The plane appears in Donkey Kong Country Tropical Breeze, where it once functioned as a shop selling handy adventure gear. Here, it's been transformed into a gift and souvenir shop. This store actually features some one-of-a-kind official merchandise available exclusively here worldwide, all of course starring Donkey and Diddy Kong. You'll find keychains, plushies, amiibo wristbands, and even mini carts complete with Donkey Kong. But the most original piece of all is this tissue box featuring Diddy riding a minecart. Donkey Kong Country features an animatronic Cranky Kong that moves and talks near minecart madness. Next to him is the parrot Squawks, and together they tell the story of Donkey Kong's theme park. Because Donkey Kong Country is an adventure, and every adventure has its story, the Tiki Tak tribe, led by Tiki Tak, has infiltrated the Golden Temple and is after the Golden Banana, an ancient treasure that appears at the end of Donkey Kong Country Returns. Your mission is to hop on a minecart and fend off the invaders. Then, it's Donkey Kong who takes charge, while Diddy makes sure the Golden Banana stays safe. According to Cranky, Donkey Kong isn't around much here, but you'll know he's on his way from a clue right under your feet. As you head to the minecart station, you'll notice massive gorilla footprints that belong to him, a little hint of what's coming in minecart madness. Just like the attractions in Super Mario Land, Donkey Kong Country has its own section in Universal Studios and Super Nintendo World app. Here, you'll find all the achievements you can unlock at the park, like unlocking mirror mode on the barrel or riding minecart madness 5 times. With 5-hour lines every time you ride, you'll have to endure 10 hours of waiting to complete this achievement. Don't hop off the minecart and keep watching these videos on Nintendo Easter eggs and fun facts we put together for you. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you never miss another adventure. Thanks for watching. See you next time.